Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining for our kickoff call for the GCP Cafe. I'm so excited for you to be here and learn about the programs that we've designed for you for 2018. We've been running the volunteer program for about 3 years, and we've never really gotten it right. And this is our year to do that. We've produced some amazing clinical research stars, people that I'm going to introduce you to on this call. But my hope is that if you join our program and at the end of the summer, maybe you'll have had that same transformation for yourself. You'll have things that you can post on your LinkedIn. You'll have brand new friends. You'll have increased confidence as a clinical researcher, and just a number of other benefits that you'll define as you go through this program and learn to better network with your peers in clinical research. I also hope, as an unintended consequence of your participation, that you have more job satisfaction at work. And here's how I think that works. I have a theory. I think that when you connect to your peers in the industry outside of your normal work environment, that it can actually help you build resilience and confidence and this entire toolkit that actually cascades not just in your volunteer opportunities, but in the rest of your life. And I think volunteering positively contributes to all the roles. So volunteering is a big ask, right? Like, it's who wants to spend all their time every week helping somebody and not being paid, right? Like, we already work all week. We have our own roles and responsibilities in our community, in our church, wherever we're trying to show up in the world. So I want to let you know that regardless of what you do after this call, you've already contributed. You can go really fast by yourself, right? In your career, independent contributor, you can kill it and get to the top. But you can go so much further and have such a bigger reach in the industry if you're together. The purpose of our group is to learn and network and create these connections. Where we'll go with those connections, I think that remains to be seen. Siri kind of talked about that. But there are a lot of groups out there that will sell you a certification, and they will help you with your technical skills. And even your own employer will invest in you and help you learn your SOPs and, how do you manage your priorities and some of these very technical skills. But there is a whole slew of tribal knowledge that you only get from being in the trenches, and a lot of that is these emotional intelligent kind of coping skills and resilience and inquisitiveness. And the more curious we are about each other, the better clinical researchers we will be, because at the end of the day, this is about discovery and exchange. We're trying to create things that have never been done before. These are new drugs, new medications, and if you make these connections, I propose that you'll make those connections faster. So we have this network. It is all over the world, and we have videos, and we have social media. So if you're not already connected, we have a Facebook group called the Clinical Research Insiders Exchange. This is a picture from one of our networking events many years ago. So when we first got started with what was actually at that time called ClinOps Toolkit, someone in my network came to me and said, women should be supporting each other and they should be putting on networking groups. And I said, women, like clinical researchers, should be supporting each other all over the world. So we started this Bay Area meetup chapter, and we had over 40 events in the last 3 years. And this one was one where, oh my gosh, I think we had 60 attendees. There was video. It was all about risk-based monitoring. We had a panel of speakers. And these events are really fun. But what I've learned is that this type of connecting one-on-one or in a small group is actually more externally motivating for me, and it actually takes a lot less resources. I would rather do these Zoom calls 5 times a month than do one of these events that takes 8 to 12 weeks to prepare for. But I do still believe that actually, I would propose that maybe these Zoom calls, we can have amplifying effects larger than just a single event. Even though you can leverage that event, I've been using these photographs for over 3 or 4 years because this event was a very important milestone for ClinOps Toolkit. But the next phase of ClinOps Toolkit, we're a virtual community. So, all right, this is our home site at gcpcafe.com. Here's a link. You can always go there anytime on your mobile device or on your computer. Get to the LinkedIn group, which is called Clinical Research Insiders Exchange. This is just for sharing topics that you find, articles, and then for really connecting, you can private message, you can get on these Zoom calls. All of that you'll learn about in our Facebook group, which is the Clinical Research GCP Cafe. So we want you to be able to actually have access to the cutting edge trends, right? And be a part of an elite group where you actually have a shortcut to be more effective at work. And that's what we're offering you. And all of that is free. you don't pay a dime. And that's really how we want it to be in our community. So when you're a volunteer, though, there's a whole nother level that you get access to. These are some of the benefits. I think the slide can't really accommodate everything that I think you get out of being a volunteer. But I do believe it will make you more effective, not just in your work, but in your life. And then there's this chance to give back. So because I've been able to volunteer my time, I've been able to share and mentor others. And I've personally, grown as a result. So I think you get more than you give. I really do. And I fundamentally, like at the core of it, the more you learn and network, the more you grow. So in the beginning, I started a solo thing. It was really early in the internet, and I was an individual pharma blogger. It was 2007. And what I discovered is that I could actually make connections all over the world very easily. I wrote a couple hundred blog posts. Google found out about me. They thought I was cool. And as a result, I have over 10,000 contacts now. And my LinkedIn is just a couple thousand. And so personally, I grew, right? I did this, and this was my era, the lead CRA, and thousands of subscribers. And it gave me a platform to practice in a safe space and really learn who I was and what I wanted to bring to work. And that was a great time for me. And I was traveling, I was a regional CRA, I was very happy. But at some point, I made a decision to come in-house and be a clinical trial manager. And I found I couldn't really write about those things on the blog because I was not a CRA anymore. How do you write about the CRA lifestyle when you're not living it? I was managing CRAs, right? So I changed it. When I had left my boss to go be a CRA 12 years ago, she said to me, I'm really angry that you're leaving. I want you to stay and work for me. I want you to manage files in the TMF room. But I get it. Like, you want to go out and develop your, ClinOps toolkit. And I said, that's it. Like, that's the name. So, 5 years later, when I rebranded the blog, it was so obvious to me that it should be called ClinOps Toolkit, because that was the part of my journey that I was going to be documenting. And I did, right? So here you go, from 2013 to 2017. Not only did I write, actually I didn't write very much. I ended up doing a ton of group meetups, and our group grew very quickly as a result. I was doing videos, I was on YouTube. It was still like the Nadia show. And that was a problem, right? Because I needed help. I could not do it all by myself. And I really discovered that, hard in 2016, when I just could not handle the growth. One person cannot scale. And so then I said, well, you know what? I'd already said to the community, like, the lead CRA is yours, take it. Like, that's your platform, write whenever you want. But I couldn't actually get anyone to write on it. And so here in ClinOps Toolkit, I was able to figure out how to get people to use the platform to help themselves. And that's what Jennifer did. That's what Darren did. I mean, there's so many people you can see on our website who have done this and used the platform. But now we're taking it to the next level. Like, I really want to create an engine with GCP Cafe that helps you not meet up in person, but meet up online and discover, like I said, those things that are extraordinary about you that really differentiate you from other people in clinical research. So here's GCP Cafe. There's a familiar face on this slide. You'll recognize Peter because he's been with us from the beginning. And again, we met him through the meetup groups, but he understood what I was talking about with the online community, and more than anyone else, really embraced that and helped me grow it. And he's introduced me to some amazing people like Kathleen, and his reach is just so far because he's very active in the clinical research memes group as well. And Sally is amazing. When I realized that it was hard for me to manage 90 volunteers, 90, I went to Sally in just desperation. I'm like, everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to be a part of it, but I don't know how specifically to make that happen. And she said, neither do I, but I'll ask questions. And so she got on the phone and started talking to volunteers one-on-one to find out, how do you need to hear about your assignments? What tools do you want to use? What do you want to be working on? What skills do you bring to the table? What are your gaps that you see? And how can we put you on projects that help you develop and make it worthwhile for you? So Sally is amazing. Thank you for everything you've done over the years. And she, just, again, wants to help and support others. So I'm going to grab some water because I'm dying. Okay, so we're at the end here. I want you to know about a new program that I've come up with. So over the years, we've asked for people to do 1 to 2 hours a month every 2 months, and it did not work out. People aren't able to show up and really get meaningful work done on a project if you can't make a commitment. So the commitment we're asking for is actually not for everybody, and that's totally fine. We want 5 volunteers. We want 5 people that are going to be superstars at the end of our program, because we're only doing 5 projects a year. And we're only doing those projects for 5 weeks at a time. So this is called agile methodology. And when you are working in clinical operations, the faster you fail, the more time and money you save. And that's true in every part of drug development. So why is that not true in our volunteer program? So come in, make a ton of mistakes, but also move the needle forward. You will be making a commitment. If you want to be a part of this for 5 weeks, you will be on Zoom calls every week. You will have emails. There will be work. It will be 1 to 2 hours a week. And that will be for 5 weeks. So if that's something that you think you have the capacity for, volunteer. If you don't have the capacity, we're going to ask again. We're going to ask 5 times a year. So there is no consequence to saying no. But if you say yes, then it costs you nothing. And I hope that we create real transformative change for you. And we'll be measuring to see if that's true. But you're going to tell us what projects you want to work on and what you want to achieve. So you'll get the opportunity to apply for that. It'll be up for about 10 days. There's a short application. Again, there's just not room for everyone in this program. I cannot manage 90 volunteers ever again. Camille will be helping me to manage 5 volunteers on 5 projects. And I'm really excited about the next project we have coming up. I'll talk briefly about them, but really they're defined by you. So I have ideas on what we should be doing, but you get to pick. I mean, you're the engine that's doing the work. So my ideas for the March 15th kickoff are that we would have volunteers working on the first 5 episodes of the podcast. 3 of those would be dropping at the end of March and 2 more in April. And I also believe that we should be doing a survey of our community to find out, are they burnt out? Right? Is there an intervention that we can do that will help address another problem in our industry, which is attrition? You know, no one is sticking around at their job longer than 18 months. And last time I checked, clinical development takes about a decade. So if you are leaving your job every year and a half, every couple of years, are you doing the best thing for patients? And I understand why people are making these moves, because I have also had a very agile career. But I'm trying to stick around and create value where I'm at, and I want to kind of teach that to others as well. So I think just in conclusion, that burnout survey will be a really important project. We actually already have a project leader, so that project is happening. And if you want to be a part of that, we're looking for 3 more volunteers on that project. And there is a couple other projects. I'm not even going to really get into it, because again, I think when you read the survey, you'll see what they are. One of them is like a workbook to help you. When I was talking about what's unique and extraordinary about you, well, I literally want to put together a workbook and help you answer some questions so that you can start developing what we call like a power statement. So you can say like, my superpower is, you know, I do this uniquely well. And that's something you can use all over your social media when you're talking at networking events, when you're in your one-on-ones with your boss, when you're in meetings. Getting that power statement is something that would be very easy for you to achieve in a 5-week program. And we have the tools to do that. I actually am working with a coach, and she's going to be a part of this program as well. So you'll get access to my coach as a volunteer, which is kind of huge because coaches are not inexpensive. So join the tribe. So at the end, I want you to learn and make these connections. You will have access to these connections regardless of whether or not you volunteer, but you will have much deeper access. And if you want to have that connection to me, I will be a part of every project team, not as a project manager. I'll be there in an advisor role. You guys will be leading these projects. If you're interested in a lead role, say that. If you're interested in a support role, say that. And I will help facilitate connections and knowledge sharing. I will do my part, but I'm not going to lead these projects because I'm writing a book. So thank you for freeing me up. You would apply in any time outside of this program, just at gcpcafe.com. And many of you have filled out that application. But because you're on this call today, there's a special link for you, which kind of puts you ahead of the queue, right? You've made an extra commitment by giving your Saturday morning. If you want to apply for this program and these projects on March 15th, you'll follow this link at the bottom of the screen. These slides will be available after the call, and Camille will be sending us all a follow-up email so you have everything you need. You've already attended the orientation. You're like way ahead of, we have had, I think, 16 applications in the past 2 weeks. So just to give you an idea of like what's happening organically on the website. But to me, for someone to show up and like introduce themselves and make this commitment, it's going to be a lot harder for you to say no now that you've been on this call. And if you do want to take the next step, now is the time, because it will close on March 15th. And the last piece is selecting. I don't tell you what to do. This is your time and it's precious and I'm grateful for it. And if you want to work on a certain work stream, then you select it. In the survey that you fill out, you tell me what it is you want to do. And if you don't see what you want there, you write it in, because I gave you a great big free text box because this is your program. So thank you for making the commitment today. Thank you for considering making a commitment to join us in the March 15th sprint. There is no consequence for not doing it. You have an open invitation anytime to step in when it makes sense for your life. And that's my pitch. I would like for you to volunteer. But I would also like you to be a part of this community however and wherever you show up. So, all right, well, thank you guys for joining